What's up, guys? Good to be back. I've missed you guys. It's been crazy over on the Cozy Rivals channel, but we're going to be talking some Marvel Snap today. We have our second supersized OTA balance patch. First one before Thanksgiving, and now we have one before the winter holidays, and I don't think we see another balance patch till like January 9th, so it's going to be a while, so get ready. It's a big one. We have some massive changes today, including one of the giant most hated cards for a lot in the game, getting its nerf, and a lot of different buffs that are going to bring a good amount of cards up to more competitive play. We got a lot to cover. Let's jump in. So let's go and start off with the buffs here, then go to the nerfs, and as always, we're going to look at the most impactful changes in Cerebro, which has not been touched to my knowledge ever in Marvel Snap. You guys know 3-0, obviously, and your highest power cards get +2 power ongoing, but now it has gone down to a 2-0, which is actually pretty massive for the archetype. I mean, this has been for a while, this archetype, maybe like for the last 2 years, that could compete, but it was never consistent, so it never really had above like a 50% win rate. But then it's become just awful. Like, it cannot keep up with the chaos out there. It's lost Storm. It loses a new card every OTA. So it's just a weird deck, and making it 2 makes it much more usable. On top of, you already have that Ravonna synergy that you can use with Mystique. And so you're going to be able to play a lot more cards, and this should hopefully give it a little bit more of a chance. I want to see the consistency. That's always going to be a problem. Locations, and of course, just getting used to cards. Even today, going in and out of your favorite power slot. But I do think this change is going to be pretty cool, and at least I'm going to jump into playing some more Cerebro. Up next, guys, we have Beta Ray Bill, and although he's not changing, Stormbreaker is. And it's a little change, but it's a pretty big one. Stormbreaker is going from a 0-1, obviously going to double the power of Beta Ray Bill, to a 0-3, which is awesome. Not gonna lie, I thought they were maybe going to buff Eitri because the card's not great, or at least consistent enough. But they're gonna go this route to try to make the Jane Foster decks a little bit better. And 0-3 is nothing to laugh at. You can obviously Frigga that to get 2 of those, and so I don't know. You know, that's a lot of extra power to throw on. I think this actually has a pretty solid chance to make the deck much better. And it's an archetype that's super fun and simple to play. And so, you know, I'm excited that it gets a different change. All right, we're back. We've made it full circle. If you guys have been playing Snap about a year and a half at least, the first or second OTA ever had Enchantress going up to a 4-6. It lasted like a week or two, tops. I think a week before they changed her back down. And we have finally gotten to a meta that 4-6 for Enchantress makes relative sense. She's never played, or at least not very often, and so now this gives her a good amount of power, and she was being played all the time at 4-6. Is it going to be the same? I don't know. There are a lot more ongoings in the game that are impactful, like Gore, and so this is a spicy change for Enchantress, and she's needed this for a while. Except we got Frigga, who, if you guys watch the Snapchat, you know is probably one of my favorite, most enjoyable cards in the game, even though she's not killer. I think she's pretty good and at least very fun. She's going up to a 3-4. I mentioned on the Snapchat that this would probably happen, at least what I think would happen with her. The 3-4 is such the new, like, normal stat line. In fact, I might as well bring up the other one, Elsa Bloodstone, going up to a 3-4 as well. So, you know, I think Frigga and Elsa, these aren't monumental power changes. They're kind of just catching up to the power creep that has come to the game. But in terms of Frigga, you got Beta Ray Bill now, so she'll be a little bit better, and she works in some competitive decks. And then Elsa, who everybody's getting for free, I think, this month, but also she has just been completely power crept by Galacta, but now she's a 3 cost with 4 power, competing with a 4-6, filling the location. There are decks where you're going to want her instead of Galacta, or both of them for that matter. So kind of interesting. I want to see how this all works out with Elsa. Does she age into some decks that she deserves to be in? I don't know if 1 power point's going to do it, but it might. Moving right along, we have Shuri. As you guys know, 4-1's been 4-1 for a while, and they are taking away a Ravonna synergy here, which people did play with, and they're making her a 4-3. I don't know if this is going to be a huge change to the card. Once a dominant deck in the meta just simply can't punch above its weight anymore, but I think this is going to entice people, or maybe it's the devs' way of saying, hey, try out Shuri again. And it might be competitive, or at least it's got more of a shot. I mean, again, with cards like Gore out there and all the tech we're seeing to counter this, right? Like one Shadow King, and there goes like your chances of winning. But I do think that this will make her more played, and we'll see if it ends up being competitive. And then lastly, we have Lockjaw, who has gone through a series of nerfs, series of buffs. I would love this guy coming to Rivals, actually. But we have a 4-4, and after you play a card here, you swap it out. It's going up to a 4-5. Lockjaw's getting niche play, and I think that, you know, they're trying to make this whole Lockjaw, Jane Jaw, we used to call it, decks at least more interesting. We've had things that made Thanos better. I thought this would bring the Thanos stone changes. Doesn't look like we're getting it this patch. Spoiler. But Lockjaw, like it or not, it's one of the most enjoyable cards in the game to play. But the balance on it is tricky because you can't make it too good. 4-5, I don't think does that, but it does make it better. All right, so time to get to the Silver Tuna. Arishem has been nerfed, and not just by a little bit, by a lot of bit. So if you guys, you know, played the game anytime in the last like 4 months, Arishem dominating the game. Kind of people who are ultra competitive hate it. People that barely played Snap or played, they don't have all the cards and whatnot. They liked it, right? Because they had cards that they had a deck that could compete. They didn't have to get all the new cards. Arishem, though, is being changed somewhat massively. So he used to be, you would get, you know, 15 shuffle cards into your deck, and then at the start of the game, you get +1 max energy. Now you're going to have shuffle 12 cards in the deck, and you're not going to get that +1 energy until turn 3. And so this is going to slow down Arishem. It's going to slow down being able to do Loki and Agent Coulson and these kind of meta plays that we've seen since the card has come out. And this is huge, man. This is massive. This deck needs that momentum to get going, and this is obviously going to trim it down a bit. I want to see where it lands, right? Like when you take away those initial turns, it's kind of crazy, man. And then the Cassandra, you know, is obviously such a good card to counter it. So how does that look like now that you've slowed down the starting engine? It still keeps the fun flavor of the deck to be playing the cards later. You can obviously be playing, you know, big cards still halfway through the game. But they have finally addressed it. What do you guys think? I want to know. Do you guys hate Arishem? Are you guys mad this has been adjusted? I think there's a wide range view of the card. Let me know. All right, guys, we have another nerf. They did mention Surtur decks are amongst the best in the game right now by a good margin. So they are bringing it down a little bit. Typhoid Mary, 410. We know she just went through a change to get -1 card ongoing on the location she's at, where they're changing it to -2, which is a lot, man. That's a huge change. That's obviously, you know, -6 power compared to -3. But a lot of people were kind of having Typhoid in her own lane, maybe with one other card. And so this should probably make her a bit more fair. But it's also just funny because you have other... This is obviously to counter Surtur a little bit because, you know, Galacta is a 412 a lot of the times, if not better. So she shouldn't get super reduced play, but it will definitely... actually, no, this is probably going to hurt the card a good amount. And on top of that, you have another 10 power card in Alioth, another huge villain in the game, going from 6'10 to 6'9. So another attack on Surtur. And with Arishem and Alioth getting hit and essentially Surtur, I think this does open up the meta pretty well and handles a lot of the decks without kind of messing with the core cards of it. So I'm good with it. I think Alioth going down 1 power point is fine. You know, ultimately, obviously, you got to rely on the priority, though, so it's going to be a lot harder, you know, to get up to that with some of these changes, but it's still going to be a phenomenal plug-and-play card. All right, last up, guys, we have Black Widow, who was our newest activate card from an OTA, and she was a 3/4, and you could activate it, and they tried to prevent the Grand Master stuff from happening. Turns out that doesn't matter at all, because she was still played all the time, still abused all the time, and so they're making her a 3/3. I just feel like they can't get this card right. Like, it just feels like a card they don't know what to do with it, and so we're going back to a 3/3. You know, she was gone for a long time. They buffed her because White Widow came out, and then she was, you know, gone again, then back again. So I guess we wait on Black Widow 2 to come out, which I don't think ever comes out. And that's going to be it for today's OTA patch. Again, guys, just want to say thank you guys for being patient with me as I am just trying to cover multiple things at once. You'll definitely see more of an even schedule here eventually. But anyway, always love making the Snap content. Played a lot, actually, for like casual fun yesterday, and it was just a good time. So good luck out there with the new patch, and until the next one, guys, happy snapping.